to TGR, that's Gaming Robo. Now today guys, we're going to be running through the top 10 attacking centre midfielders on Championship Manager 0102. Rather than going into a big spiel about it, I want to get right into it guys so you can see who are my top 10 attacking midfielders. So let's start off with number 10, Roger. Now Roger is part of the Benfica squad. He's on loan at Fluminense. Now you don't really see much looking at his stats right now, but if you want to manage a Brazilian team, or if you're managing Benfica, you bring him back as soon as you can, you play him and obviously give him the right training program, he turns into a brilliant attacking midfielder. And there's one that you should be really thinking about, to be honest with you, one that you should be really thinking about signing for your team. Now Roger is valued at £2.5 million, and he does get paid already at a young age £15,000 a week. Now apart from that, Roger is one of these guys that just gets bags full of assists during the season. So this is why I say it's one player that you should potentially be thinking of signing if you haven't done so already. Now Roger's coming at number 10, so let's see who's at number 9. Tonton Zola Mukoku, one of the legends of Championship Manager 0102. I've placed him at number 9 because every time I've managed to buy him, I get inconsistent through him, and I'm not trying to say this in a bad way because he's a really good player. I mean, his dribble rate and assist rate is fantastic, but for some reason I just don't seem to get the best out of Tonton. But so many other players of this game do. So it's obviously something that I'm doing wrong with Mukoku. Now he does play at Derby County. He is valued at £35,000, and he does get paid £250 a week. So he's really cheap and a dirt cheap player. So if he's one of these guys, if he's one of these guys that you haven't bought before, you need to buy him and try him out. I've tried 4-1-2-1-2, which he does really well for a lot of games and does mediocre for a few other games afterwards, etc. I've also tried him at a 4-1-2-3, and I've tried him at a 4-1-2-1. I've played him in a 3-man attacking midfielder team, 2-man attacking midfield team, and a 1-man attacking midfield team. I don't seem to be getting the right results. So if it's something that if you guys have bought him before and you've found a way that really works for you, and he's done really well with goals and assists, etc., please let me know what you've done in the comments below, so then I can read it and just see whether or not I can make it work for me. But Tonton's finished number 9 on my top 10 list. Let's see who's made it in at number 8. Kewell. He's a fantastic player on this game. He does brilliantly for Leeds. If you're not one of these guys that can wait to see what he's like and see if you can buy him, if you go straight to managing Leeds, you play him in a 3-man attacking midfield team, you'll see the immense presence of Kewell on the game. His passing's accuracy is fantastic. His tackling's really good during the season. Dribbling rate, his assists. I mean, he gets a bag full of goals as well. I mean, he is 22 years of age, and I know obviously Leeds is one of the teams that CM rates very highly. But he's valued at £10.5 million, and of course he does have a wage of £25,000 a week. This relegation release clause, disregard it. Leeds won't get relegated whilst Kewell is playing for their team. So that's it for Kewell. So let's see who's made it in number 7 on my top 10 list. Juan Roman Riquelme, another player in real football who made it really big in his native country, but didn't really make it far further on after that. So it's a shame because I've watched a lot of his football growing up, and I've always been a big admirer of his. and I would love to have seen him play Premier League football. Would love to have seen it. Now, he does play for Boca Juniors. He's valued at £5.5 million. Of course, he's going to be going through the work permit issues, but to be honest with you, I mean, when I say the work permit issues, he goes through the work permits, not a problem, but obviously he's going to be classed as a foreign player for the first 3-4 seasons whilst playing for your team in England. But obviously in other countries like Spain and what have you, he seems to go through after a couple of years. So obviously their foreign rate changes, obviously different countries. But yeah, apart from that, and he does get paid £17,500 a week. But once again, just to reiterate, that Riquelme is a bloody good player and is one in your team that you guys should be thinking about having in your team, because he will alone win you games. But that's it for one, Roman. Let's see who's made it in at number 6 and has just missed out on my top 5. Stefan Celekovich. Now, everyone knows how good this guy is. I mean, I said it in one of my other videos before that if you don't buy him early on at the beginning of your game, he gets snapped up by a big club very, very quickly. So he's definitely a player that you need to be investing in as soon as you possibly can. Now, he plays for Halmstad. He is getting paid. He's not getting paid. He's valued at £850,000 and he gets paid £725 a week. These release clauses here, I think I said it in a different video before. I would personally disregard it because Celekovich doesn't get relegated, or the non-paying clause doesn't really come into effect whilst he's at Halmstad. Never does. But obviously he's one of the super Swedes. He's a fantastic player, and he's one player that you will get so many points because of him. He is one of these guys that can turn your team into nothing to superstars. He really, really can. But that's it for Celekovich. He has missed out on my top 5, unfortunately. So let's see who's beating him at number 5. Pablo Aimar. Pablo Aimar is brilliant on this game. Like Riquelme, he's brilliant. He's one of these guys that, sometimes his injury prognosis does get the better of him, but he's one of these guys that he's always in the mix when it comes to your team scoring goals. He's not just a natural player that can cross the ball in really, really well and set his own teammates for lots of goals during the season, but he scores lots of goals too. And I never really see people talking about Pablo Aimar on Championship Manager. So maybe it's the point where people actually start talking about him and actually see how good he really is on the game. Now, he is valued at £7.25 million, and he does get paid £28,000 a week. But going back to him, he's a cracking player. You seriously need to invest in Pablo Aimar, and you'll see the difference your team will be by having him in your team. Now, I don't need to go through his stats. I mean, you can see his stats quite clearly. And you guys know me by now. I look at teamwork and work rate quite a lot in players to make sure that they will gel well within the team. And obviously they work throughout the whole game, of course. And you look at his stats there, you can see his teamwork and his work rate. It's 19 and 20 respectively. He's brilliant. He really, really is. But Pablo Aimar's finished 5th in my top 10 list of attacking midfielders. So let's see who's beaten at Pablo Aimar and has finished at number 4. Kallstrom, one of the legends of the game. Kallstrom, he will guarantee you to get so many assists during a season. You will lose count the amount of times he sets up goals for your team. Now he plays for a lower side in Hacking. Of course, he's valued just shy of £500,000, and he gets paid £625 part-time contract a week. Obviously, you can see the relegation release clause. It's not a team that you need to worry about with the release clause. If you want Kallstrom, you've just got to go out and buy him, unfortunately. But for an 18-year-old, you look at his stats. He is fantastic. He really is. I know I use fantastic a lot, but this guy here, he can make your team unstoppable. He really can. But Kallstrom has finished 4th in my top 10 list. So let's see who's beaten him at number 3 and who's just made it into my top 3. Eldar. I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname. I've tried it so many times whilst trying to set this video up, and I keep botching it. So rather than me botching it on the video itself, I'm just going to class him as Eldar, like I do with Kennedy, as you all know. But Eldar, he's 16 years old. I know it shows he's a forward. But one person told me, try playing him as an attacking midfielder. He actually does quite well. I took his advice on, and I've done it for a few seasons. And oh my God, I cannot believe the difference in this guy from playing as a striker to an attacking midfielder. It is absolutely amazing. You will, if you guys haven't tried him as an attacking midfielder, you need to do it. And then you can come back to me and you can tell me how much of a difference he's made for your team. He's one of these players that, once again, CM's rated very, very highly of. I wouldn't necessarily say a legend on the game, but he's still good enough to be named by lots and lots of people online, or between my friends who still play the game. Loads of people still class him as one of the best players on the game. Now, he does play for Lyn. If you're not too sure of Lyn, obviously they are a Norwegian team. And with Eldar, he's valued at £425,000. And he does get paid £825 a week. Relegation release clause. I'm not too well up with the Lyn football team. I'm not sure if they are a team that you can wait on and then see if you can buy him for cheaper price. If you want the guy, as I keep saying, just go out and buy him rather than waiting on the release clause, unfortunately. But yeah, once again, just reiterating that, instead of playing him as a striker, play him as an attacking midfielder, and you will see the difference in this guy. When it comes to assists, his dribbling, his shots on target, his goals takes a little bit of a drop, but his assisting goes up through the roof. So please, as I said, do try him as an attacking midfielder. But Eldar's finished 3rd in my list, and he's just missed out on 2nd place. So let's see who's finished 2nd on my list. Vitali Kutuzov. Now, on this game, there are 2 Vitali Kutuzovs for AC Milan. And obviously, they're both Belarusian. One spelled with a Y for Vitali, and the other one is spelled with an I. One's a striker, one's an attacking midfielder striker. But this guy, not many people talk about him, which I'm quite surprised at. I remembered this guy from when one of my best mates growing up when I was in secondary school. He found this player, and I saw him and I saw how well he was doing. I thought, I'm going to buy him for my own season when I can go back home and play it. And since then, I must admit, I've not bought him recently, but I recall I just bought him whenever I started a new season because I just loved the idea of the fact that he had another player with exactly the same name, just his last letter of the first name spelled differently, and he does play really, really well, to be honest. But he is valued at £3 million, and he does get paid £3,000 a week. And of course, with him being Belarusian, a lot of people have said to me already that a lot of players from Belarus seem to be one of the best players on the game. It seems to be a generic sort of quote that people tell me. So I don't know if all Belarusian players are really good on the game, but I know obviously a select couple are very, very well indeed. Now, Vitali, unfortunately, he has missed out on my top spot of the top 10 attacking midfielders on the game. So let's see who's beaten him, and let's see who I rate as the best attacking midfielder on Championship Manager 0102. Kennedy. Once again, I'm not going to try and botch saying some of these guys' surnames wrong, so I'm just going to call them by the first name and save the blushes of myself of botching saying their names. Everyone knows this legend. He is a legend on the game. And I mean, I know I've mentioned him a couple of times in other videos before, but he really is a fantastic player on this game. Obviously, he plays for Hammarby. He is valued at £500,000. You're probably looking about £1 million, £1.5 million, maybe £2 million to buy him, of course. And he does get paid £625 per week on a part-time contract. Obviously, he does have this relegation release clause. I disregard it. I don't see Hammarby getting relegated anytime soon. I'm not going to lie. I think I've said that before, but he does not. I'm sorry, Hammarby does not get relegated whilst Kennedy still plays for them. But his best role, his best position is attacking midfielder in the centre line, of course. But apart from that, I mean, if you have 3 attacking midfielders and you have one person on the left, another person on the right, you know, hypothetically speaking, you have Ronaldinho on the left, Totti on the right, with Kennedy in the centre, you've got an absolutely immense attacking midfielding team. But Kennedy fills any gap. Kennedy fills any team's hole with him playing as an attacking midfielder, sometimes even as a striker, but his best place is as an attacking midfielder in the centre. But that's it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you feel that I have missed someone out in the attacking midfield central role, please leave a comment down below. I'll be interested to know, and I'll be interested to see who you think should be in my top 10 list. Apart from that, guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please smash a like on the video. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you do subscribe to our channel here at TGR, that's Gaming Robo. Apart from that, guys, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you at one of our other next videos here at TGR, that's Gaming Robo. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Stay safe.